All right, hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar here. 7 o'clock, we're sending out a video to prepare us for tomorrow, discuss some other things, try to make it short and sweet. After hours, we had GameStop coming out beating. They were expected a loss, I think, of like 16 cents. They came in with they beat by 13 cents or interpose it. It was up there. It was a total reversal of fortune. GameStop, 26.19. This thing is coming off of $18. So look at the, almost a $10 move. I would call it $8. Well, and then we had Nike, the other big earnings out, NKE. And Nike popped originally. I didn't really notice that it dropped back down here. So it had an original pop, and now it's actually a little bit lower on the day. Sold off. Did finally sell off there. So that was a two big earnings play. But we're going to talk about some stocks. And again, the big thing tomorrow is the Fed FOMC rate decision. We had a contest in the room. I put a contest out on YouTube. If you're listening to this on YouTube, just look at the previous video, and you could apply for that contest. It's just the one I put out last night, so you have to go search it out. But FOMC meeting tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Are they going to pause? Are they going to hike a quarter point, or are they going to hike 50? I think a lot of people thinking a quarter. Some people thinking a pause. Not many people, but a few thinking 50. I haven't heard anybody thinking cut yet. So I'm looking at a hike of about a quarter point hike, and my target here, and we'll discuss that for a second. Targets. Now today was perfect. I mean, we had a really good day. We traded the futures. If I could bring up my I was, again, doing what I do, identifying those diversions, take them live with you. I only trade a contract or two at a time because I'm juggling a lot of things going on. But let's go out. Let's go out here a second. This is my Ninja Trader chart that I use. And earlier this morning we got in. This was, I don't think I took any trades pre-market. Might have. I'm not even sure. No. There's nothing here. There was a nice divergence here. You can see that kind of a double bottom divergence. A very steep stochastic rotation on this. Very, very steep. So we're going to just mark these out for you. So you have a closing price kind of divergence. But see how steep the stochastics are. This is a concept you just have to get used to. You're seeing the relationship between that low and where the stochastics turn back up on the 9.3 and the 14.3. Very good relative divergence and a big move off of that. And over time you'll gain more and more confidence on the setup like this. All right, now the next thing up. This is going into 7 o'clock. It was not really trading here. Then we had some 9:30. The market opened up and we moved up. Got a quad rotation sell signal up here. We didn't really focus on that. Just letting the market shake out here. We had a nice reversal, and you can even see the trend line starting here. So I'll just extend that out here. That's what I'm noticing here just by looking at this. It was something I'd be noticing. And now what happened was we took an entry here because of the steep divergence here. Pretty steep divergence. You had a low, you had a lower low. So right when I noticed that, and I was late on that too, but knowing that there was a downward channel, 9 times out of 10, the divergence is going to break us out of the channel. Excuse me. So we had that, and it could have went much higher. I mean, some of these trades you could just get in and trade and hold on to, but I like to point out, trade the pivot areas to kind of give people opportunities. We got back over here, and I didn't. I think I pointed this out on the other charts, but I never pointed them out on this chart here. But since I'm looking here, we did point this out. This is, again, the same thing. We have a double top, but look at the steep. You see where that 80 line is up here? And the distance between the 80 line and the top of that orange line, how steep that divergence is. It's not even close up there, but the price was equal. So that's a great divergence, and that's what you want to jump on. And that gave you a good entry right up here. And then it came all the way down, and we had a little divergence here. We might have had something else. I think we might have made a quad rotation. I ended up taking that. We had another nice little trade, almost 2 points. I took it off into the 20-period moving average because this was embedded down here. When you have an embedded stochastics and a fast rotation, it's typically a bearish flag, and this was exactly what we kind of had here. Now, you could have taken this both ways. I prefer just to take profits into that bear flag. Now we came back down and said, all right, this is probably a shakeout, fake out. And I could see that 14.3 divergence playing out here with the 9.3 divergence here. Just another divergence back to back with a equal bottom here, double bottom divergence. So we took that again, and boom, there goes 2 points on that. And then of course this went much higher. So again, if you're just taking these, you're going to get some good entries. Missed this one. There's a nice double top here. A little lower stochastic rotation there, a little pull back. That'd be fast on that. Eventually moved a little higher. We were trying to see if there was one divergence here, but it was kind of tight. I think we mentioned this. That was one that we had to watch, that this was embedded here, holding above the 80. This was rotating back down, and this was holding the 20-period moving average. This turns this into a bull flag, and even though it was a slight divergence here, a bull flag defeats a divergence. All right, so market popped all the way up. Got a quad rotation sell signal up here. We don't have that alert yet. I'm working on that. And then we kind of dropped off here. Now at this point, market pulled back. There was some news, Russia news. There was Janet Yellen news today, and then the market came back strong. And again, this was a nice kind of double bottom divergence here, very close relative, but you can see the space between the 20 line and that low here. So it was a decent divergence. That's the only time you find divergences, is when this market moves. We're almost oversold here. Not quite a might have been. I have to check. What time was that? It was 2:05. I got to go over to the other chart here. Let me scroll all the way back to 2:05. Well, 2:05. Very close, but no cigar. It was a divergence. I think we could have called that ourselves because of the divergence. And lots of times you get a divergence and it just happens to turn back up. We needed this to get down into 20. It would have given us a quad rotation. But that's even better that it holds above the recent low. That's even better. And then the market closed. So that was it on the market close. The market's reopened right now, and you can see not much going on. No real signals yet. And that's where we stand right now. Back down to the S&P 500. At the end of the day, we're pointing out the S&P cash and how important trend lines are, along with the divergence. This one trend line, this rising trend line, goes back to all the way to October closing price lows, comes under January, then it gets tagged here in March, pops, and then we break through it. And so whenever we break through a major trend line, you always watch for a retest in the trade to the, in this case, your underlying push up here should give us a nice move back down. So I shorted right into that line. I actually was like the saying, don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes. I was waiting until we were right on that trend line. We were squeezing almost a little bit through, and I put in that short right at the end of the day. We got a little pullback. We were up a little on it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Technical levels are trumped by news. And Trump news trumps everything. There's not going to be Trump news, but this technical level is a great level. But because of the Fed decision tomorrow and his statement, anything can happen. But lots of times we'll look back at this and say, hey, anything can happen, but that happened. And it was so obvious it happened, but, you know, it makes sense that it happened. So we shorted into that at the end of the day. I think that's a good risk reward, even if it goes higher. I'm in some stocks now. We traded a few stocks today. We did Google. Great trade on Google. It popped all the way. That's actually just drifting a little after close. But look at this nice run today from the beginning. Went up to our target was 105. It got up to 105.10. And from that point on, it kind of It tested the highs of the day at the end of the day. Still holding one contract, but we did take good profits on this. And holding shares. I still like Google here. Looks fine. Let's see what else. Let me go back on our trailer box today. So we got into this morning. We got into a stock called QNCX. QNCX. And we got in here, and we rode it up to about here, and we took profits. We made like $40 or something. It wasn't a lot, but it was a good setup because we catch these pre-market poppers. This is a type of trading that we specialize in the morning. So if you're here between 7:30 and 9:30, prepare to get into these low float, low price, absolutely screamers. But you have to be prepared. Like the first thing I can tell you, try not to do this when you're stuck, in a pattern day trading account where you only have limited to 3 or 4 trades a week and you're down to your last trade. 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to sell these things. You don't want to hold into them. So you plan on burning trades in these. All right, and it's best not to, again, if you could get full access in the markets, in and out, no problems like that, this is a great way of making money each day. Great way, because we're on top of them first. Absolutely, we're on top of them. I mean, other than the news coming out, people will be right in front of it. I mean, these things pop up on the scanner real fast, and the majority of them you could see continue to move higher. So we got in that one. It popped. We got out. And then we were holding JP Morgan from yesterday. And we got out. I rolled it out a little. To next week, I still like it. We had a nice profit on that. Sold the QNCX. So a couple other cheap ones here. I'll just mention them because we got in them today. So Young International. Volume was picking up a little. Didn't have a bad run here in December, January, February. This doesn't look like your typical penny stock that ran up. It did get hit here, came back. So looking for maybe a little follow through on this tomorrow. See what got this one going. All right, so that's that. Picked up some Google, sold to Google, made $170 on one contract, held the other one up on that about the same, and we could continue to hold on to that. We'll see how it reacts tomorrow after the Fed meeting. And then there's another cheapie here, TOI. And I'm looking back at this one, even though it was a SPAC, I've been noticing the SPACs that are under $1 are tending to pop to $1.20 to $2 sometimes even $3. Now this broke down out of a channel. I mean, we'd be happy to get this thing back to 120 would be my target on that, which would give us close to 100% gain. All right. So that's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a miracle here. Hail Mary. Give me a double. And it could possibly happen. I mean, it's under the radar, not a lot of volume. We got in here, it continued to move, it closed on the highs, it continued to trade up here at 70 cents. So we're up making some money in this right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow if he gets a follow through. Maybe there's some news out there brewing. Maybe somebody. Told you about the SPY puts. One actually, just kind of up against that trend line, but anything goes with the news. So here's a couple new ones that we're going to look at for best bets for tomorrow. ABBV upset. We were looking at it down here, and I said this was probably one of my best bets going into next week, and I watched it run right back up to the highs without me. Now it's chopping around, but it still looks really good. But in this one, out of this consolidation down here, got the good news. The pop back, the pullback, we said that was the best pullback. Get in here. Now it ran back up. Trying to squeeze through here. Trying to squeeze through. The recent highs are right above us. I said buy any pullback on this. Looks good. And buy any pullback on Google, which we're going to look at next. So no position, but I like that a lot. ABBV. Google, another best bet for tomorrow. Now we're going to see how this thing performs. It's going to be, we're very close coming out of this base. You can see where we liked it last. Still held up pretty good. So we'll see if we get that follow through on that. Still looking very good on those. We did JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan. JP Morgan oversold like this too. Oversold, starting to move back up, trying to cross back up. It's having a hard time. It's not running away. You would think. My prediction, Jamie Dimon, and this is just a guess. Maybe he's not going to come out, but if he came out and announced he was buying his own stock, this would pop 6, 7, 8 points. It'd be great. It would be a fantastic mover. If Jamie Dimon came out and just said, and we kind of alert whatever form they files and he bought whatever, it would pop this stock so good. I mean, it's I don't know if there's a quiet period going on or he's just not comfortable, but this would be a good sign of confidence for the whole markets, especially for JP Morgan, which would rocket on that. It's the best time ever to do it right now. Heard it here first. A couple that were passed in the room by different members. I know Jerry Jr. was one of them, doing a lot of help. I have it written down as KMT. Why do we have this one written down? It was a trend line. I don't know. It's oversold. It's definitely oversold. All right, well, I have it written down. I don't have any notes next to it, though. Raw Stores. I circled that one. That was kind of a coil, but a breakdown out of a channel like this is usually like a capitulatory move here. That's a tough one. That's almost like pituitary. So looking for this to bounce back up, at least test or at least get back above that trend line, which is a good, 4 points ahead of us. So that's not bad. I didn't take any position in that, but it's something I want to point out to you. Someone mentioned the BX. I looked at it. I liked it. I think it was, was it Marie? I forget. Again, bad. I should have wrote down the names next to it. I'm going to give you false credit or not give you enough credit. Whoever brought this to my attention, thank you. This is Blackstone Asset Management. Now, they had a big piece of the pie of Silicon Valley Bank. I thought they came in when it was like SVB, when it was like whatever it was. Oh. I know they took a bath on it. But it seems like they waded through that, and it's starting to come back up. And we had a divergence back here, had a trend line retracement. Again, I went over an important rule here on charting. If you have an established trend line here made with 3 or more pivots, really good pivots, very easy to read. If you gap above it or any type of news comes out and it breaks through it, that trend line is still a good trend line and should be traded against down the road. Don't consider a break of the trend line. That trend line's gone, especially if you had news. It'll tend to come back into the trend line, and then the next time it'll test it, it'll react right, and that would be a confirmation that this trend line is a really good valid trend line. So this is exactly what happened. We had a gap up, some news, it ran, it came all the way back down. First test of it, we reacted to it, came back, chopped around it, then some more news, we kind of gapped up, eventually came right back down to it again and held it. Popped up here, and now we're holding off. This whole area becomes an interesting area. I would give it a sphere of influence here. Also, this this line that I have here is really a good line. We zoom out here. We can move up just a little. It's close. You're coming back here, hitting it here, here. So we're back above it here. I kind of like this one. So I have it written down. I got to decide how to trade that. After hours today, Jaguar Health moving around. This one that we've been part of back in the day, and it started to move today, and then after hours it seemed like it popped a little, pulled back. Now it has a little bit more volume, pretty decent action on it. So just marking it off. This one CYCX here is also pushing a little after hours. So JAG X, CYX, SCYX, and JAGX, two movers on my screen right now. Again, our consumer defensive stocks looking good. Conagra in a very bullish phase right now with the stochastics. Expect this one to continue. That doesn't look weak at all, even though it was down today. You can see the stochastics have not really even turned here, especially the 14.3. So that's a really good sign. I would expect this one to continue and eventually get through that 36.88 level. 36.88 would be a breakout on this. I think we're going to get there. So this got to be up there in the best bets here, even though it's a smaller move. It looks really good, especially because of stochastic momentum here. It's really in a strong area. AI has been moving here after hours. AI, and again, you can see a little pop in that today. And you can see it right now here. This is after hours. We're at the highs of the day. We just popped up on some volume up to 23.80. And now pulled back off of that 23.60. Market's almost at the highs, it looks like. Just looking at a couple other things here. And we'll send this on its way. Still waiting for my program to come in here so I can upload the bot channel, the bot here. TSLL, IDX, SWK. I'm going to check in the room here if anybody needs any stocks here. KMB. Yeah. KMB has already moved up here. This was a pretty good setup too. And then General Mills GIS was a good one. That already popped, but it's consolidating here. Viru here. Viru, disastrous. Disastrous time since it missed the COVID, and it gapped down on that news of the rejection of the FDA, which we kind of knew that was going to happen. It did sell off here. I think it's kind of a risk-reward type of trade at this point. I think you have a shot of a move back up. I'll throw out $4 there, but it is a tough call here. But at this point, I would say if you're not in Viru, it's definitely worth it for a possible bounce here. GameStop continues up 50% after hours. Take a look at Hood. Robinhood has a kind of a little divergence going for it too. Kind of a double bottom here, divergence, a higher. It's not bad. It's not the worst. I don't trade it, I never really trade it so much. McKesson, MCK. That was a good level off that trend line, starting to move back up out of a coil. Did kind of move down a little. Looked at the 200 McKesson, and this, and then MKC. Then we have McCormick. McCormick, very like McKesson here, is also off of that 72 area. KMT. Is there a KMT? Oh yeah, you mentioned this one, right? Boston Scientific about to start to break out here. Boston Scientific is breaking out. And then we have let's look at Apple here fast. Bad candle on this TC 2000 V here. All right, last thing we're going to do is again, my purpose today was actually finishing up some of the Rockbot scripting here and getting that uploaded. I was going to give a whole separate video on the changes and stuff and the new way of the quad rotation. Now, this blue line is supposed to come in out of quad rotation. It did identify the quad rotation here. It also identified one here. But I don't see how it's weird, because this was just a marker that I was using during testing and stuff, and it marks the last quad rotation. The next one that comes up, it'll have a new blue mark, and this one will disappear. I was trying to find all, I wanted to post them all each time, but for some reason it's only posting it the last one. Divergence long, nice move up. So the divergence is going to be still the same. We got the short divergence working great, and we got the quad rotation. I'm looking for the other quad rotation if there was any. Instead of getting run over on those quad rotations, it's going to give us a much better signal here. This might have been a quad. This was a quad rotation back here. I might have to go pick up my son here in a second. There's a lot of things are going on here. Divergence long and a quad rotation right here. Alright. Safety profit. It takes profit into the 20-period moving average. A trailing stop, and then there was a divergence long and a move back up, but there was also safety. Looks like there was. It worked out pretty good. All right, well, that is work. We're working on that. Everything looks good on this. It looks really good, so I'm excited about it. Lifetime members will be able to run it on their own machine if you have the NinjaTrader platform. A lot of people have been asking if we could convert this into other platforms. I've been looking into it today. I wish there was an easy way, because I don't know all the other, learning curve and stuff. I don't know how to program some of the other other scripts. If this is MetaTrader or TOS. A lot of people asking about the Thinkorswim platform, if we could convert this. Now, I know I've been looking online. There's a lot of conversions from Thinkorswim to NinjaTrader, but nothing from NinjaTrader to Thinkorswim. So I'm going to send this out. Don't forget, tomorrow, Fed Day tomorrow, and it's really the last day of the sale we've been running. Happy St. Patty's Day. So again, if you want that, all those codes to be able to use yourself, become a lifetime member, you get them. That's the only way to get them. But we will run them on the Rockbot channel, but it's not like you have total control of it. All right, let me send this out, and we'll continue the show in a bit here. Like I said, I got to take a little break, and I'll be right back. DayTraderRadio.com.